Hi, and welcome to the Property Playbook. I'm your host today, Peter Carlseen, licensed real estate broker here in California. Today, we are going to be talking with one of our expert electricians and how that can help any of you landlords and homeowners increase your return on investment and keep your property safe. So I want to welcome William Evans with Lighthouse Electrical. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
Awesome. So you've got a whole table full of stuff here. Talk me through some of these things.
So first of all, we have a old Zinsco breaker. The A phase of this, the left-hand side of this, it was starting to fail, and the temperature on the wire feeding this breaker was about 200 degrees.
That's a bad thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It was starting to melt some stuff.
Oh.
So we had to change that out. Generally, if you have any of these kinds of breakers, especially these ones, you probably want to change out your panel.
Okay. It's just because it's generating heat? Is it because they're getting old?
So the Zinsco, which is what this is, they have about a 60% failure rate.
Ooh.
And that goes for Sylvania as well. Challenger, which that would be these guys right here.
Okay.
Pushmatic is even older than these. So that should have been changed out a long time ago.
I'm assuming Challenger was made prior to the Challenger disaster in the 80s that we saw on TV. But
yeah, it definitely was.
Okay.
Nobody wanted that name after.
Yeah, I imagine. Okay. So when you talk about failure rate, what does a failure mean?
So failure means that the breaker is not protecting your wiring anymore. So you can pull more power, but that means that you're overheating your system. And that's what will cause fires, even more so.
Heat causes fires. That makes sense. Okay. So the breaker is there to help make sure that you're not pulling too much juice, or it's not...
It's making sure that the wiring is not getting hot.
Got it. Okay. That sounds like a good thing to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's why this one needed changed.
Yes, 200 plus degrees. Yeah. Okay.
Something else to watch out for on older houses, particularly between 65 and early 80s, is that they had plugs that only could be back probed. And that is causing a lot of loose connections. And whenever you have a loose connection on electrical, it means heat.
Why is that?
So you start to have some arcing. So it's trying to travel over a smaller distance.
Okay.
So that's why you have that heating up. And what that does is it starts to melt away the insulation that is protecting the wire. So a lot of times you'll have people call, hey, I don't have power in this section of the house, or I smell smoking somewhere.
Yeah.
If it's that age of a house, generally it's because of the plugs. Or, hey, lights went out. You have had that a couple times on some of your properties.
Yeah.
So it's a good habit to get into at turnover, to change these out if you have a house or apartment, condo, in that time frame.
So mid 60s to early 80s.
Correct.
Okay.
And generally you'll end up having these in your house as well then.
Got it. Okay. Sounds good. You've got a GFI outlet over there somewhere?
Yep. So we do have a GFCI plug. This one's particularly from Eaton. And you want to change these out about every 10 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because you want to get ahead of it instead of having to have somebody come out on a service call. So if they look old, probably should change them out just as a precautionary while there's no tenant in there.
Okay.
Get that done and taken care of.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Yeah.
Why do you even need a GFCI if you've already got circuit breakers?
So the ground fault circuit interrupter senses the ground, which if there's electricity that goes on the ground, that means it could be going through you.
Okay, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why we have ground fault circuit interrupters. And now, back when they used to wire with stuff like this, there's no ground.
Yeah.
There's no ground at all.
Okay.
And so there was easily ways where people were getting shocked from having stuff plugged in and using it and getting in contact with, say, water or the such. And when a child actually died in 1973, I think it was, she was using a hairdryer and in the tub.
Not a good idea.
Yeah,
not a good idea.
Electrocuted her. So they made a standard then that, one, your system needs to be grounded, and you have to have ground fault circuit interrupters so that doesn't happen again.
So if somebody were to be using a hairdryer in the bathtub, which I don't recommend, but if they were to do that now with the GFCI, oops, I dropped the hairdryer, it goes into the water, what happens?
This will trip as long as it's operational.
As long as it's operational, okay, which is why you change them out every 10 years.
Correct.
Okay.
Which your breaker will not trip.
Really? Okay.
Your breaker
because
will
it's
not trip.
sensing the live feed going through, not the ground.
It's only for heat.
Oh,
It's
gotcha.
only for heat, at least a traditional breaker. Now, this one is a combination breaker. So it both senses the neutral and the ground, and this will trip the breaker without you having to have one of these locally at, say, your countertop. This particular type of breaker, which this goes into a Eaton plug-on neutral panel, that will trip, and you just push this little test button to make sure that's actually operational. These do last longer than just a receptacle.
Got it.
And they're pretty easy to change out. And you got Eaton, and then here's the old school type where you got the tail coming off of it. So I can go onto a neutral bus bar. So that is what Square D does still.
Okay. Now with GFIs, my understanding is you need to have one if you're within 6 feet of any water source.
Correct.
Okay. And that's because if you're standing in water, you don't want to get electrocuted. It's bad for your health. Okay. Are there any other instances where people would need to have GFCI outlets?
You always have them in the garage, but general rule of thumb, if there's somewhere with water or somewhere where there might be water, you always have that protection.
Got it. Like outside, if you have exterior outlets, they shall be. Okay.
And nowadays they actually require arc fault protection.
Okay.
On a new construction, or if you do a house rewire, which this combo breaker suffices that. And now the issue that I was talking about with the loose wiring, well, that's exactly what the arc fault protection is for, because normally it's a neutral wire that will become loose on your outlet. That will cause that overheating and potentially start a fire that way, but it won't trip a regular breaker.
But with the arc fault interrupter, it will sense that some magical way.
Yeah, it's got some kind of circuit board in there.
Okay.
It's not just a regular breaker.
Okay.
There's a lot more protection in it. But your wiring has to be set up for that. Now, if you have this old BX cable, you're not going to have the ability to do that.
You may have to go into more extensive remodel measures.
Yes, you may have to update to your more modern Romex.
Okay.
This is rated for 90 years.
Okay.
Whereas this old wiring was really only rated for about 40 years.
Wow.
And I know there's a lot of places in old San Diego that most of the houses still have this.
Wow. You'd think with as difficult as it is to rewire a house, that the wiring itself that's in the walls that you can't just like replace easily would maybe last longer Is that just kind of the best technology they had at the time?
Yeah, just at the time, because this is just fabric that's covering it.
Oh, wow. Fabric's flammable though, right?
But this insulates it. It's a certain type of fabric that it is, and there is a type of tar that they would put over it as well, which there's still a little bit of that residue on it, but not much. So they didn't have anything rubberized because they hadn't come up with it.
They hadn't come out. Yeah, that was pre-rubber. Okay. Got it. So if there's a landlord maybe with an older property, we talked about some of these trigger points where they need to make sure they check the outlets that may be old, the breakers. How do they know, like with the breaker box? I've heard a lot of issues with those going bad with certain brands that have that high failure rate. What are some of those brands, and what are some of these solutions for getting those fixed or replaced?
So generally you got to replace them.
Okay. You can't just fix them. You can't duct tape them.
You can't duct tape them. I've seen people try to do it, and it's a mess. It really is. Because it's not just the breakers that have the failure rate. It's also the panels themselves.
Okay.
Where the bussing was like a spongy aluminum.
Okay.
Instead of a cast iron aluminum that will hold up much better. And generally the way that you got to change those out is that you got to file with SDG&E. You got to talk to the city, file for your permit, and SDG&E is what takes a while. And the other item to watch out for is that while they were installing a lot of these panels, they were also installing the gas meter right in front of the panel.
Yes, I've seen that a lot.
Which isn't allowed anymore. So
then you got to move the panel or the gas meter.
Correct.
Which has its own logistical problems.
Correct.
Okay.
And in my experience, it's generally cheaper to move the gas line than it is to relocate the panel, because now you have to relocate all of those wires that go to that panel.
Got it.
So that could get very pricey very quickly.
Got it. Okay. But relocating the gas meter is no picnic either.
No, you still got to get SDG&E involved, and
get permits that you got to deal with.
Correct.
What happens, or is there any potential insurance issues if people decide not to replace these types of things?
I've seen it to where insurance agencies are getting more and more strict, where they will not insure you if you have these panels. And as time goes on, it's going to be a hard no.
Okay.
So you want to get ahead of that. It's been a suggestion for a long time, but especially with all these fires that we've been having, and more of these panels failing as they age, even more so, they're getting more and more stringent. I'm seeing it more on the commercial side where it's a hard no.
Okay.
Right now, which will come to residential.
It will eventually get there. And I've seen even in condo complexes that are older that have some of those Zinsco and Sylvania panels, the HOA is not able to get insurance because of the panels on the residences, and they're saying every residence needs to upgrade their panels before you can get insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
Which generally, if you have a whole HOA that needs to get replaced, generally you can drive the price down.
Yeah, sure.
Quite a bit, because you're not having to do underground. The most is that you're having to relocate the panel because it's in a closet.
Oh. You can't put panels in the closet anymore?
No, you can't put them in the closet anymore.
Next to all this flammable material?
Exactly.
Okay.
You're supposed to have 3 feet of working clearance in front of it.
Okay.
So that's why generally it goes behind the master bedroom door, or so on.
Gotcha.
The easiest thing is just to flip it to the other wall.
Okay.
If you're able to.
If you don't have a closet on the other side of that wall or some other, okay.
Or if you just don't want it in a hallway.
Yeah, it could be a weird look.
Yes.
Okay. You're not allowed to put a picture over it or a mirror to
I've seen
hide
people
it.
put pictures in front of panels. It just needs to be accessible.
Okay.
Readily accessible. You're not supposed to have to move furniture at all. I've seen it where panels are behind the refrigerator. And come on. Like, that's not a good scene.
Especially if you've got a water line to the refrigerator.
Oh, yeah. Well, and something decides to trip or, oh, I can't turn this off. Where's the panel at?
Yeah. You're going to look forever unless you happen to know exactly where it's
Exactly. At. Which, as a tenant, you're probably not going to look there.
You probably are not. Who would?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any certain like features or what's kind of the new trend going on now in the world of electronics in the home?
So electronics, there's a lot of electronics that are being charged and used. So now that's why, and more importantly, you want to have that arc fault protection and then also the ground fault protection. But what is also now required is a surge protector. Now, what that helps with is if, say, the utility grid goes from dirty energy to clean energy, and there's a power surge on the utility because of that.
So it's not the power coming into your house isn't always exactly the same 24/7.
No, it is not, which will mess with your electronics. So that's why you always install a surge protector. And it protects the entire house, not just what you plug in, and it's a strip. Now they have it for the entire house, and you don't necessarily have to upgrade your entire panel to get that protection.
Okay.
There are retrofits that you can install on an old panel, as long as they're good panels.
As long as they're good panels, yeah.
Which there are good ones out there that were put on when these were on.
Yeah.
But these are very common.
So definitely, you if you have the surge protector, that's going to help. Like I said, not just stuff that's, the stuff that you're plugging in, but your appliances, which nowadays are getting very expensive to replace. If you've got that $5,000 48-inch, range that it's like another child to you because it's so expensive, then you don't want that damaged.
No.
And a lot of these, everything's got circuit boards in it now. So if it gets too much, I don't know what the term, juice, too much electricity, it can fry things or it can just
if it doesn't have
works.
the correct voltage, it can mess some stuff up.
Okay.
Or it can degrade it much faster.
Got it. Okay.
It won't be an instant. It'll be over time, things will start to degrade more and more.
Got it. Just out of curiosity, what's like a ballpark range for the cost on a surge protector, assuming no major upgrades to the panels?
That's generally under $500.
Oh, okay.
There. Yeah, so it's not really that expensive to install.
It's cheaper than a dishwasher, microwave, stove, refrigerator, any one of those things.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a surge protector, then you don't need to necessarily plug in surge protectors because everything's protected.
Your house is already protected.
Okay.
And generally that protects even higher ranges than, say, the strip does.
Got it. Okay. Okay. And I didn't prep you with this question ahead of time, so hopefully you have a smart answer on this. Refrigerators. I've always been told not to plug those into surge protector extensions because when it kicks on, it can pull, so much juice.
It's called the inrush current.
The inrush current. And that can trip the surge protectors. But this one you're talking about is different.
Yes, it is completely different.
Okay.
So it is protecting against incoming variance in your voltage.
Got it.
So you won't have to worry about that at all.
That's a good answer. I like that answer. All right. Now, there's a big push right now for people to replace gas appliances with electric. Do you have any opinion on that?
Stick with gas for as long as you can.
Okay. Said the electrician. Okay.
Yes, it is expensive to switch to electric. And generally, if you say you have a 100 amp panel, which most people looking into doing that has a 100 amp panel, they're like right there to be able to do it or not with their current supply from the utility. And once you start changing out one gas appliance, then you start changing out another one. And next thing you know, you need to upgrade.
So it's not just the cost of the new appliance. You've got to rewire it. You got to bring, 220 in a lot of cases, ovens, ranges, water heaters. You're pulling big wire in through.
You got to bring this size wire into your kitchen through the ceiling.
So so in most cases, I'm assuming they're going to be cutting holes in the drywall and feeding it through that way, as opposed to running, a separate conduit through there.
Correct.
Because that would look kind of weird. So that can get very expensive. Plus, electricity bills could be substantially more.
Yes, correct. Not just that. If you do a panel upgrade, especially if it's underground, instead of a panel upgrade being $5,000, you're looking close to $12,000 to $15,000.
Wow, and that's because the wires coming from that are going up to the panel, that needs to be
the pipe and the wire. Need
the
to be
pipe and the
changed
wire.
out.
So you've got to trench it out. And
now, if you're lucky, you've got a 2-inch pipe feeding your electrical panel, and SDG&E will let that go. And they'll feed 200 amps, so they'll change out the wire. But if you have 1.5 inches, like a lot of people do, you've got to put a 3-inch PVC 4.5 feet down in the dirt, all the way to where SDG&E wants you to tie into.
How far away is that usually? There's a lot of tract homes around here. What's common?
The short is about 25 feet, so to the sidewalk. Sometimes it's all the way to the transformer, which sometimes can be across the street or a couple houses down. So that's quite a bit of concrete work, asphalt work, traffic control. It can get expensive really, really quick.
So that's a whole nother set of permits from the city if you're doing traffic control or messing up sidewalks or anything like that.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
So that's why I try to tell people, stay with gas. If you love gas, or if you're at least okay with gas, stick with it, because it's going to cost you a lot more to go to all electric.
It's not just the appliance. It's not just the rewiring. It's not just the panel. It's also all of that other magic between the panel and wherever it ties into.
Correct.
But if it's overhead, it's easier.
Yes. If it's overhead, that's like an $800 difference in a replacement and an upgrade.
Got it. Okay. You're just running thicker wire from the poles over to there?
From the panel up to your roof. That's all that changes in regards to cost anyway. SDG&E, they'll run it from your roof to the pole, and they do that no cost.
The downside is that most of stuff that's been built in the last 40, 50 years, 60 years maybe.
Yeah.
It's all underground.
It is all underground.
Okay. Which is the majority of the housing
Correct.
nowadays.
Which the ones that were installed with these types of panels, they're also 1.5 inches.
Got it.
And they're always gas as well. So that's where let's do a replacement, not an upgrade. Let's do a $4,500 to $5,000 replacement instead of a $12,000 to $15,000 upgrade.
Got it. Okay. So if they're homeowners, landlords listening to this, and they're not sure, like I'm assuming 99% of people look at their panels and they don't know, is this a Zinsco or a Sylvania or whatever the good ones are? I don't know. What's the best way for them to find out if they need to take action on this?
The quickest and easiest way is just to look at the cover, either the face of it or on the inside, and see if you can find who made it. The other way is if you see multicolored breakers, it's one of those.
Oh, okay. Multicolored breakers, no good.
Generally, that's a really good telltale, but that doesn't tell you all of them.
Gotcha. Okay. What's the best way for someone to reach out and get connected with you in case they want an expert like you to go out and check it out for them?
They can reach out to us at lighthousesocal.com, and they can check out what we've done there as well. Look at our reviews, and then decide themselves if they want to reach out. or they can call us at 619-904-6876, and that will go right to my cell.
Perfect. Well, that's wonderful. This is great information. I learned a lot, and hopefully listeners did too. If you are listening to this, please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe, shoot me a 5-star review. We'd love for you to share it with the other people that you know. My goal is always to make my clients the smartest people in the room, and you get that by tuning in. So thank you, William, for being here today, and look forward to learning more about you in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter.
Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in.